welcome. Today we're gonna be talking about the solar cycle. The sun's activity is more powerful and surprising than predicted. So, right now we're in solar cycle 25, and the sun seems to be ramping up. We've been already scheduled for multiple geomagnetic storms this year. We've had an increase in the thermosphere temperature. We've had increases in radio distribution issues, ionospheric drag issues with satellites, causing certain satellites to come tumbling down. We've experienced a lot with this solar cycle, and for some reason, scientists were misled by the trajectory of which this cycle was gonna hit. You know what I mean? Like, they really thought that this cycle was gonna be some weak, especially they even thought it was gonna be weaker than the last sun cycle. I don't know who told them that shit. You shouldn't be an expert after making such a prediction. So, it's something like this, otherwise known as the northern lights or southern lights or aurora lights, emitted in the upper atmosphere by particles as they interact with energized ones from the magnetosphere. So, pretty much essentially the sun, which is a huge generator, sends a lot of hydrogen atoms, cosmic rays, even now they're even seeing gamma rays are able to be sent from the sun, which is very strange because certain processes and certain wavelengths can only be reached with exotic, I guess you would say. The sun is exotic, but more exotic objects in the universe, such as black holes and things of that sort. But the sun is able to do things that we don't know, and that we are still, for some reason, misunderestimating the potential that it has. I mean, due to us not even knowing what the sun is, I mean, I guess it's valid that we're making such errors. But to keep going on, to scientists, the aurora is an infinitely complex, amalgamation, oh my god, of ionospheric dynamics, a manifestation of Earth's intrinsic connection to the sun, to industry, the risk of factor. Okay. The Starlink destruction event. In February 2022, SpaceX launched 49 Starlink internet satellites into low Earth orbit, LEO. This was the 36th Starlink launch that SpaceX had carried out, and one that they anticipated to go off without a hatch and go just like the 35 before. On launch day, a coronal mass ejection, a large burst of plasma expelling from the sun, struck Earth. It caused a geomagnetic storm in the atmosphere between 100 and 500 kilometers in altitude, the target strike for the Starlink. And they all came tumbling down, nigga. Niggas ain't had no internet from Starlink. Starlink need to go ahead and Elon need to go ahead and, you know what I mean? This event injected an immense amount of electromagnetic radiation straight into Earth's upper atmosphere. It produced beautiful aurora displays, but the energy also increased air density. A higher air density typically isn't a big deal for low Earth orbiting satellites, because it's already extremely low and usually operational altitudes upwards of 400 kilometers. Starlink, however, was initially launched into the altitude of 210 kilometers. That's much closer to Earth, which with an exponentially higher air density. 38 out of the 49 initial launch satellites were subsequently lost due to atmospheric drag from the dense atmosphere. Oh my god, so the dense atmosphere caused by the geomagnetic disturbance from the electromagnetic radiation from the sun is what caused certain atmospheric drag, causing satellites to come tumbling down or at least lose their central grasp of orbit. I guess they're going to talk about the surprising solar cycle. The sun undergoes a cycle every 11 years to be exact, which its activity increases and decreases periodically. At the peak of the cycle is where they have more sunspots, more radiations emitted, more flares, geomagnetic storms like the one that was caused the Starlink destruction event are a relatively common occurrence, especially when the sun reaches a peak of its 11-year sun cycle, strengthening and weakening activity. In the previous cycle, which ended in 2019, there were 927 storms classed as moderate or weak alone, an average of one every 5 or so days. It's pretty decent. I mean, that ain't too hot either. I mean, in all the 900 and yada 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 927 classified moderate storms, there were probably like 5 big ones that came off the sun that could have did something serious and damaging. We're currently 4 years into solar cycle 25. To me, this is solar cycle 7. But this one has already proven surprising. The maximum activity of the 25th cycle was predicted to occur in 2025, but the solar activity has already exceeded that. This means we have been seeing more geomagnetic storms, more aurora displays, and low latitudes than usual, and potentially more hazardous conditions for low Earth orbiting satellites. If geomagnetic storms are so common, why do they cause more issues? Possibly because our general basis of reality or life is based off of obviously technology that is not protected, or at least holds no real I guess metaphysical property, or it's of a design that's not made to last, let's just say that. So when space weather energy enters the Earth's upper atmosphere, for example, the ionosphere composition changes due to neutral and non-neutral dynamics. For example, the ionosphere composition changes in addition to air getting denser. High frequency or shortwave radio communication depends on a predictable ionosphere to broadcast long distances. Geomagnetic storms that affect ionosphere composition can cause radio blackouts, such as the disruption of North America on August 7th. Even minor storms can cause degradation of radio signals used in military and marine system. Evasion communication or ham radio. Okay. Extreme storms can cause radio blackouts lasting hours, and for an entire side of the globe, the storms that big can cause more problems than such as 9-hour electrical outages experienced by Hydro-Quebec in 1989, which is the 1989, I believe that's the Carrington event. So Carrington event definitely fucked their ass up. Definitely showed just a gram. What is y'all talking about, nigga? That shit showed a minute, fraction of what the sun can even try to do to your bitch ass. Like, let's just be realistic. So now casting other real-time data and understanding the conditions as occur, one of the best tools, okay, the instruments such as the ground-based radar and magnetometers, magnometers, okay, on satellites, magnetometers. This nigga. Can now estimate the electromagnetic space weather energy entering the atmospheric almost instantaneously. So essentially, to put a cap on it, the sun is it's on a level that scientists just believe shouldn't even be I'm not gonna say shouldn't be possible, but shouldn't be happening. This shit should not be of a reality, at least at this moment. Either that or they've been just lying to a nigga trying to make it seem like everything's alright when really in all goodness it's really not. So again, something like this is very important, just because the sun has such a broad hold on everything damn near that happens on the earth. Even reading they were trying to dim the sun to slow global warming. Do you understand the consequences? You can't, niggas silly. If you even try to block my nigga out, do you know the consequences? Like, do you understand, like, from food, you hear me, from the acidity of the water to the warming of the water? I mean, the sun affects just about every process that happens on Earth. For some reason, the sun has a hold on it. Once that hydrogen atom does its thing, the sun has a hold on it. You see what I'm saying? So essentially, the sun being more active, solar cycle 25, grand solar cycle 7. The sun might do its thing. This solar cycle, they're seeing the sun. The sun's been tweaking recently, shooting flares with light that they've never seen come off the sun before. Those may be tall tale signs that the global or the cosmic micronova from the sun may be just on the horizon. We don't know the power that such a micronova may emit. Just know that we will be hit. Fuck are you talking about? Something like that, it's not made to miss. You see what I'm saying? Every angle, every degree must be hit at all times. You see me? So when we're looking at the grand solar cycle 25 and we're looking at X-ray flares, just understand that when the micronova comes, micronovas can be anywhere from a mini flare all the way to a planet fucking killer. Do you hear what I'm saying? So just understanding those critical circumstances shows you that you should really just stare at the sun every day. I ain't even gonna lie to you. The next thing we got over here though, just to kind of add on to the changes of Earth's magnetosphere and layers of its atmosphere, they've seen the highest temperature increase within the last 20 years of Earth's thermosphere, which is roughly like 50 miles from the surface to about 370 miles from the surface. That's about the area of the thermosphere, and they're seeing that it's the highest temperature in 20 years due to these solar storms from the sun. Just to add a little bit more, the sun's thermosphere recently hit a near 20-year temperature peak after soaking up energy from geomagnetic storms that bashed the Earth this year. The temperature in the second highest layer of the atmosphere will likely continue to climb over the few years as the sun's activity ramps up, which could cause impact here we go again, which could cause impact of Earth's orbiting satellites. These low orbiting satellites finna be on the ground, nigga. The thermosphere extends from the top of the mesosphere, which is 53 miles, so about 83 kilometers above the ground, to the bottom of the exosphere, which begins at around 370 miles, which is 600 kilometers above the ground. So for more than 20 years, NASA has measured the thermosphere's temperature via infrared radiation emitted by carbon dioxide and nitric oxide molecules. Scientists convert data collected by NASA's thermosphere, ionosphere, mesosphere, energetics, and dynamics, so timed satellites, into the thermosphere climate index, which it is measured in terawatts, or TW. 1 terawatt equals 1 terawatt is equal to 1 trillion watts. Fuck. God, I was looking at the I was looking at this hoe right here. Oh my god. Now I know why the ancients was using the pyramids for they were fucking with the ionosphere, you see what I'm saying? Now I see why they was fucking with trillions of watts, nigga. Fucking with Jupiter, you probably fucking with, I'm not even gonna say nothing. This right here, TLC unit, which is spiked, okay, which spiked on March 10th, peaked at 0.02 or 0.24 terawatts. A leading researcher on the time, this seems like little, just like when you see like a certain, like when the Tonga eruption happened, or like when certain volcanoes go off and they talk about how 0.15 degrees, just a small change is all you need to fuck the whole bitch up. You don't need nigga 5 terawatts. These niggas is crying. That's probably how it's gonna look when the you know what I mean, when the micronova does its thing. That's when we gonna see 5 this is 0.24 terawatts. You finna see that hoe, nigga. You finna see, nigga. So pretty much the last time that the TCL was this high was December 28, 2003. 10 solar storms that blew us away in 2022. The temperature spike was caused by 3 geomagnetic storms in January and February, major disturbances in Earth's magnetic field that are triggered by chunks of fast-moving magnetized plasma known as coronal mass ejections, and less often by streams of high-charged particles known as solar wind, which are both spat out by the sun. True. These storms deposit their energy in the thermosphere, which causes it to heat up. The increased heating results in increased levels of infrared emission of nitric oxide and carbon dioxide in the thermosphere, which is how they're able to tell once they do their data flipping or data switching. They use one machine, which is this one, and throw it into another machine, which is able to give you the electron voltage capacity. So pretty much, where did we leave off? Since the spike, at least 2 more geomagnetic storms have hit the planet. One on March 24th, which was the most powerful storm to hit Earth in more than 6 years. And another one equally powerful on April 24th. The TCL value following the storms remained high, but have not passed the March peak. Yeah, so yeah. Geomagnetic storms become more frequent and intense during the solar maximum, a part of the roughly 11-year solar cycle in which the sun is more active and covered by dark spots and plasma loops that spit out CMEs and solar wind. As a result, Earth's thermosphere also follows a rough 11-year cycle. Government scientists from NASA, that's the worst type, and NOAA predicted the next solar maximum to arrive in 2025, which means the warming trend will likely continue for the next few years. Changes in the thermosphere can pose challenges for satellites on Earth's in Earth's low orbit. goddamn. Satellite in Earth's orbit that are positioned around the thermosphere's upper boundary. The thermosphere expands as it warms. Okay, expand. That's probably why it causes drag and shit. Increase aerodynamic drag on all satellites and on space debris, which can cause. So if you had like Saturn's ring system, and your ring system was, I guess, like I don't know, I forgot the distance of Saturn's most closest ring, but I wonder if it can cause, certain solar storms can cause rings to. That's very interesting. So let me see, operators. Okay, the satellite crash into one another. Okay, increased drag put the satellite closer to Earth. Okay, see, that can cause satellites to crash into one another and completely fall out of orbit. Okay, the SpaceX satellites did in February. Okay, yeah, so satellite operators can avoid these issues by positioning their spacecrafts in a higher orbit when needed, but the unpredictability of space weather makes it hard for when these, I guess, events happen, and they happen too late. I don't even know what the fuck these niggas. Solar maximum could also arrive sooner than predicted. A recent study published January 30th in the study journal Frontiers in Astronomy and Space Science, okay, suggests that the solar activity peak could arrive as early as this year and be more powerful than initially predicted. If this scenario plays out, then the risk of satellite disaster further increases. These niggas said 2023. You should have just said right now. However, over longer time scales, temperatures in the thermosphere are declining because of excessive CO2 in the thermosphere due to the climate changes, increased infrared emissions into space. May 8th study of the journal, okay, Earth's Atmospheric Planetary Science. Pretty much, as you can see, it's causing a chain effect. I do wonder, just as they say, once global warming reaches a certain level, there's no turning back unless nature says so. I wonder if it's the same thing with this shit. Once we reach a certain level of tera-electron volts in the Earth's ionosphere, I do wonder what the consequences are, just due to also the moon playing a role in the Earth's plasma ocean. And I wonder if there's more plasma in the oats. What the fuck in the oats? Imagine if there's more plasma in the Earth's plasma ocean. That would obviously give more way for plasma to enter into Earth, and also I wonder if the moon plays a interesting role in that, if higher plasma levels are seen in the ocean, and before, how much of a influence that even has on the moon. Knowing that the moon emits certain gamma rays, all type of things. The moon really isn't just a boring rock, apparently. So this is cool to know, though. The Earth is definitely getting tested by the sun. If the sun wanted to, it can clear the whole if the sun wanted to, it could clear the entire solar system, leave no planets even around. Clearly, the sun has a job here to kind of maintain and sustain life, but also give certain challenges to the ones that orchestrate and are, I wouldn't say entitled, but have been given a place on such a planet. Truly, something that we should be paying attention to. The sun's activity is just as important as a hurricane happening outside your window. It's just as important as a flood happening outside your window, to an extent. You see what I'm saying? But all in all, it plays too much of a role in in our world, and it has too much of a hold on our life to just be ignoring the motherfucker. But with these rises in temperatures of the ionosphere and certain atoms being found and additional radiation belts and the sun emitting certain lights that it never usually does, and having weird electromagnetic kind of happenings on the surface that we really can't really have no answer for, the more mysterious behavior that the sun is starting to exhibit is causing more signs of, I guess you would say, you should be scared, nigga, because it's doing things that it normally does not do. So just be ready for when it does something that you did not at all think that it was gonna motherfucking do. So I appreciate y'all niggas, and I'ma see y'all niggas.